Hello. I thought I'll speak a little about Almighty.Inc. I've been speaking about this on different social media, a little bit here, talking about it. And I've been thinking about this since a few years. It just makes sense. See, it's like this. Yeah. We're all part of a family. Yeah, we have a belly button, which means we came from parents. Yeah. We're from Earth. Yeah. And parents came from parents. Yeah. So, and then humans evolved over many cycles of evolution from primitive ocean. Yeah. Unicellular organism to all the way to land dwelling organisms to, this way to standing up humans, human evolution. The ocean, primitive ocean, Earth, out of all the different planets. And then Earth had to form, just like how all the other planets formed. And then Earth became a planet that has life, that holds life, and maintains life. That's its own evolution cycle. Yeah? Where other planets have not gone through that. Or had gone through some parts of it, or the chemical combination. So, studies are still on. Different stages of development, but Earth is like a role model. Yeah? We're on Earth. And then all the planets part of the solar system. That took some time. Sun to form, and then the solar system form. We are yet to find another star that has a system like the solar system. So we're already part of a unique system here. And then Sun is part of the Orion arm of the Milky Way galaxy. Now, before the Orion arm and solar system, there are so many other small details. Space science people, astrophysics people will be able to look to it. I haven't yet come to that bit of information. So I came to solar system, part of the Orion arm of the Milky Way galaxy. Yeah, from the internet and different media that I got to know about it, I'm telling this. Now there may be information that I've already said that a lot of people don't know about. Yeah, so to that extent you're informed now. You have some new information. Milky Way galaxy is one of the galaxies amongst many other galaxies. Yeah. So Milky Way galaxy is a home galaxy. Now, just like the solar system, Earth is part of the solar system, is part of the Milky Way galaxy. Milky Way galaxy would be part of bigger system. Let's just call it a universe. Yeah. For want of better reference. And just consider that there are many universes in this whole black space that we are calling as space. This whole dark matter that we're calling as space. Yeah? Like how tiny little solar system is part of Milky Way galaxy being part of something bigger, like similarly. Fractals. And there are many universes inside this whole dark matter that we call as space. Yeah? And we could either consider that way, or we could say all of this is part of one. So there's a theory that says there are many universes in this thing that we're calling as universe. Yeah, we're just generally calling it as one big universe, but there are many other universes. Yeah, because we are still in different stages of collecting data and then putting it in the right place, and then say, oh, now we've discovered a planet, or we've discovered a star. Yeah, Pluto is still in this. Pluto is a planet, not a planet. Is a planet, not a planet, according to definitions. Yeah. So how we are putting the data together and then calling it as a planet versus just another mass of material. So accordingly is the definitions, the names that we are giving. So the idea of universe, there is the idea of, okay, there is this universe, and there's just like how solar system is part of the Milky Way, it's called as fractals, where one thing is part of a whole, part of a bigger thing. Like we are part of the living organisms on Earth. Earth is part of the solar system. It's called fractals. Yeah. So in that way, there will be multiverses, like many universes within this dark space, many universes. It's called multiverse. So there's this idea of it. It's also considered as just like one ball. So this ball is part of one bigger system of balls. That has also been called as a multiverse. That's also one way to look at it. Yeah. Like we are working in a home, part of a family, a group, a community, a nation, a continent, and there are 7 continents. Similarly, we are also employees. So this is also like a fractal. Yeah. We are all employees. Okay. Let's just say some of us are students, which means we are part of a university and we are learning something. Yeah. Or we are working either for a company, in which case there will be a hierarchy in that. For example, managers and different to a CEO and like that. So there's a hierarchy to it. Just like Earth is part of the solar system, is part of, yeah. So there's a hierarchy, again fractal. Now consider that even a homemaker or a baby, just newly born, is part of a organization like this. And we are born to a particular department, yeah, a particular system. Like after interview and all of that, yeah, say, let's take an example of an organization, a company where somebody is employed. Yeah. After an interview, they become part of a department. Yeah. And according to how they function in the department, how they're able to cooperate, collaborate, and how they're able to add value, they go up in the hierarchy of the organization. Yeah. According to incentives and profits and how valuable is their presence and contribution accordingly. Yeah. That's one way to look at it. Yeah. Similarly, even a baby, or newborn, or a homemaker, or a senior citizen, or apparently invalid, yeah, having some disease, apparently. Everybody is part of an organization that I call Almighty.Inc. It is a for-profit organization, yeah, incorporation. And we are all incorporated from birth into a particular department, into a particular network, yeah. And a department is like a network. There is computer department, there is security department, there is housekeeping department. There is so many departments in an organization. Yeah, electricals department, for example, payroll, yeah, HR department, and different departments. And according to the thought process, now, for example, a family, they have their own culture, their own tradition, their own religion, yeah, their own nationality, yeah, their diet habits, yeah. So according to the qualification met, we are born in that network, in that department, that network, that way of thinking, that way of being. And so say a baby, they would have certain qualities that matches with the people in that network, in the family, yeah. And according to how well they are working and interacting and then learning and then becoming better, adding value over time, how they then improve their own inherent values. So say, so every person is said to have a soul, spirit, self, yeah. Then mind composition, emotional composition, bodily composition, consciousness, different levels of consciousness, conscience of their own, yeah, and social interactability. So some people are more introverted, some a little extroverted. So social interactability. Some are even there are different names, yeah. So each person have their own composition. That means they have the physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, consciousness. We even think logically, intuitively. There is also something mysterious about us. Not everything is known about us. For example, we don't know everything about our soul, or how is our soul related to our spirit, related to family tree, related to why we are in the different environment we are in. For example, the effect of our neighbors on us, on our health, how our there are things we know we don't know about. For example, rocket science, yeah, and there are things we don't know about our own self. For example, what is going to get us really up and active towards being healthy in such a way that we do not get diseases, in such a way that we can maintain our own health while we have health, while we have a life. And these are different topics that are in different stages of research, development. And for example, WHO System Diseases talking about how much we don't know about our own human body, about the human body in general, yeah, and how much we know about ourselves. Yeah, so there are known and unknown aspects. There are mysterious aspects. There are rational, irrational. Now, having said all of this, each of us are born to a family, to an extended family, have a friend circle or not, or we have, say, different schools we've gone to or not, or we've had some form of an education, somebody taking care of us, yeah. And that's the system in which we are experiencing life, paying attention to what there is in life on Earth, and then different information. We even hear about, launching satellites, and then we're talking about mining and different subjects. We only get to know about that bit of information when we encounter, say, somebody talking about it, or some information about it, some news about it on, say, social media. That is, if you're using social media, if you're reading newspaper, for example. So accordingly, there is information coming to us, and then we get educated to that extent from the bits of information on what there is out there, and what are all the things that is there, what all there is to be thought about. And based on what information we have, what we are exposed to, we form a construct of reality. And then there is the construct that we are making up. Like, this is reality. Does it really match with what reality really is out there? Yeah. And that's the difference between, say, a person who has, say, schizophrenia versus a person who does not have schizophrenia. That is, there is bits of information, and they form their own version of reality, which may not be in accordance with how things are out there. Yeah, that is, they formed a story about how things are, which will have, say, false news or false opinions, false facts, or the information is put together in a way that does not make sense, or is in several ways not in match with facts. For example, there is this idea of a flat earth theory, yeah, and then there is, say, information that has come through many years of research and development. For example, there's the Earth, and then this solar system, and that construct of reality, and somebody calling it as a flat Earth theory, that everything is based on what you can see and what you can affirm by yourself, and everything else is either said to be false or does not exist. So this may seem like a big difference between what I'm calling a schizophrenic and factual based construct of reality, but we each have our own version of what life is out there, or what reality is, based on the information we have versus not. Yeah. So so a person who is healthy versus a person who has a disease would also be dependent on how information is held together in the body. For example, does the heart know how to function normally versus not function normally? In which case, the person has a disease, and their thinking, their emotions, their ability to relate with the world and how they relate would also be dependent on the health of the heart versus the health of the liver versus health of the intestine. Yeah, and accordingly is their functional capacity, but that's in a way their metabolic processes. Yeah, so in terms of intellectual metabolism or intellectual health, it is not just about the head and the body, or the brain and the body, where the brain through the nervous system is also connected with the body. Now, why am I saying this is every person makes up their construct of reality. Every person is in a, say, a family situation, a societal situation. And according to their own interests, they function, they learn, they educate, and accordingly add value to people around, to the world at large, according to the size of their concern. Yeah. Now, having said that, like in an organization, when you're doing well, that's when there is a promotion, or there is an incentive, or there is um, a gift, or something that somebody gives to encourage you to continue doing the work. Yeah, that's also how Almighty Dotting as an organization encourages the employees. So it could be a baby, it could be a homemaker, it could be a student, it could be an employee, it could be a CEO, it could be the prime minister, it could be anybody. Yeah, according to how well they are doing and how well they add value to the system, accordingly is the incentive and encouragement to continue doing the work they're doing. Yeah. Now, in that sense, a person who, in that sense, like in a company or an organization, when the employee is functioning in alignment with the vision and mission of the organization, then there is value added in accordance with the organization, and so they grow with the organization. They help the organization grow, and so they grow in the organization. Similarly, in Almighty Dotting, when a person is functioning, no matter who they are, as a baby, as a mother, as a security person, yeah, somebody who's unemployed, because they are alive on earth, yeah, and they are part of Almighty Dotting, when they are functioning in accordance with the vision and mission of Almighty Dotting, then there is growth and encouragement. Yeah, they are helping the organization grow, become healthy, wealthy, wise, and the organization does better from you becoming better. Yeah. Now, what is Almighty Dotting? Almighty Dotting is also, it's like mighty, like might, the things that we can do. Now, if we consider not just human, yeah, but just say life as an organism, what is possible from within the realm of alive. Now, you could say in that sense, artificial intelligence also is a form of, is a construct from life, yeah, because that has come from different stages of evolution, yeah. Artificial intelligence also formed from humans working on something and then arriving at. If the organism, say even an artificial intelligence, or a human being, or say even a dolphin, they are functioning in accordance with the vision and mission for why life is there in existence. Or let's say Almighty Dotting would also be the purpose for why life is in existence. Like life itself is like a system, yeah, that's there in the universe with a job to do. And there is planets and stars which is regarded to be non-living. And it's like a system that has been created over many time, like since a big bang, for an example. And they are doing a job. And then we have life, and we are still searching for life. And we found life only on Earth, and it's from Earth that we are searching for life. Life, like an employee in an organization, is doing a job. When life is a for-profit, the universe as such, when it's being profited from what life is doing, that's when there would be more life seen. It's like it's an economical asset management thing, yeah. What is more profitable is more encouraged. Over many lifetimes, many cycles of evolution, human beings have evolved. So earlier there were, say for example, dinosaurs. They were doing a job, and was that as beneficial, as profitable for the organism? Yeah, it's like tissue culture. A new, okay, life is nice, something is happening, yeah, and then there is this species, and then so it's like one bit of information, another bit of information put together, and then this happens, yeah. For example, there was unicellular organisms, and then they started moving, and then for example, euglena can photosynthesize and make food by itself instead of going and feeding on something else and then forming, yeah. So photosynthesis, chlorophyll is a beneficial new product, yeah, from life as an organism, from the department, yeah, from life as a new employee kind, yeah, development. And then from there, when the organism has a certain food producibility and can also move, then you have, for example, say fish, yeah, and different animals, yeah, they are also able to produce a certain thing, which is why we tend to also eat certain forms of fish versus other. And then there is what better to be eaten, yeah. For example, if you're going to eat something poisonous, you're going to die. And if you're going to eat something that is not suitable for your bodily make, that's not going to have your body function very, very well, yeah. So there are some things that are suitable for you, and there are something that's not suitable for you. That discernment comes over time from which is how you notice, it's better to eat this mushroom versus this. This information comes over several inquiries, and then arriving at when it looks like this, and then that will be documented or passed down from generation to generation to say this is better eaten, and if it looks like this, it is better eaten. If it's looking like this, better not to eat that. Like that, we have our culinary habits also, different recipes and what's made, and different cultures and traditions, yeah. Now that could be also dependent on geography. Some geography, some things is better taken versus some other geography, yeah. Now what am I alluding to here is information has been getting better over time, yeah. And then what is better invested in versus other things, yeah. There used to be dinosaurs, and then it's moving to some extent, and then things need better development, yeah. Which is when it's like a culture, yeah. Like Earth is like a lab culture kind. This species is better there, and then versus not, it's causing problems. So wash and then start another one, or some aspect of it maintained, and then further development, yeah. So the idea of the Noah's Ark, maybe alluding to, nice culture, but they are tending to, so over time, since the dinosaurs, humans also evolved over time, apes, monkeys, different organisms, and then humans evolved. I'm thinking the T-Rex, which would walk with really nice strong legs but tiny little hands, is also an idea. This is a nice species, yeah. And then humans, we are like walking on legs, and then we use our hands, but then there is also benefit to using our hands. We're not working on our hands, for example. Yeah. So some behavior traits are more better than the other, and then what better to eat, or and how better to live, and then there is the bees as a culture. There's a certain organizational culture. Monkeys have a certain societal culture, and that's found as beneficial. And then over time, as information became better, we have human civilization. Yeah. So this is like almighty dotting, working on, oh, this is a for-profit, life is profitable. And then there is what is more profitable versus not. Yeah. So it's like a evaluation of data, and then arriving at this is a beneficial trait versus this. Yeah. Natural selection based on the vision and mission of almighty dotting. This whole, all that there is. Yeah. Now, having said that, humans form civilization. Societal being, take care, form civilization, and then they tend to this warring thing. So this animal traits, the survival of the fittest and microbial, somehow exist, and so the survival traits has been showing up in our human systems, because humans also evolved from different cycles of including microbial, plant, animal. Yeah. So these traits were continuing to show up in our genetics. Yeah. And so we've had warring tribes, and then there is some traits, for example, family, and then taking care of family, and then certain traits are more, for example, non-violence. Gandhiji, Nelson Mandela, they started fighting, so to speak, to maintain, you could say, altruism, yeah, for others in that sense. So doctors, physicians, tending to take care of others, and then it's about how they've been taking care of others. Yeah. So when we talk in terms of non-violence, they've been working in terms of don't kill others, and there is a way to find independence. So a lot of people are continuing to be alive. Yeah. And so that is beneficial for civilization. There is this care and nurture, and so non-violence is beneficial. And then there is further studies required. Yeah. So that's like Gandhiji has been talking about experiments with truth. Yeah. And so there are many studies. Even Mr. G.I. Gurdjieff, I was thinking of him as doctor, because he's done some really good work. Yeah, because he's been doctoring the philosophy of what it means to be human too. So in that sense. So it's a logical thing. He's been working in terms of the fourth way, and certain traits about ray of creation, and he's thinking in terms of cosmology and absolute and many such thought lines. Yeah. Also Dr. J. Buchanan, he's been thinking in terms of psychometry, and so there are remarkable people across time and space who've been doing some wonderful work. And then these different bits of information, apparently these are like big chunks of work, yeah, over time has had to be seen in perspective. And then what work is almighty dotting doing through all of these different things, which is the way I study, the way I connect the dots, I'm seeing that as to live in life in the multiverse. Life is beneficial. There have been many Noah's Ark moments. For example, one civilization functioning, but then they tend to go into violence. And then there is this idea of the Noah's Ark, watch the culture, start another. So there is one manvantara, one person goes into a ship, for example, different species, and then lands in a piece of land, and then starts civilization again. So that's like, start the culture, this is fine, you go there. So you are better on that way. Yeah. Similarly, we've had several attempts when things are not working fine. At some point, there's this idea in the Bible that now there will no more be floods, because some traits are more identified versus another. So, and then they can improve on this existing set. Yeah. So we've had bubonic plague, yeah, rat-based, and several other pandemic, yeah, whereby floods not required, but the traits, certain traits are continuing to be there. And how to improve that? Rats, for example, have a certain way of thinking, of attention to details, which has not been possible otherwise. So they've had rat material mixing up with human material. So we kind of scurry for, and then we have, say, engineering and medicine and architecture and rat race, yeah, to win and have those skills that is beneficial, yeah, and then stand up because you have a certain acumen, which certain other people may not be having as much, but those are important too. For example, artists are important, security people are important, and many such traits. And then there is to then see how this actually works, how then this becomes beneficial. You have skill sets which then adds up to adding so doing some very important work in this whole system called civilization. And so some skills are important, and then certain traits are important. Yeah. Now, having said that, in all of this, people have been looking for liberation from life. Yeah. So all of this, because there are some difficult spaces and there are some healthy spaces. Yeah. Sukha dukha, they say. And we have W.H.O list of diseases. So there are many such problem areas. So there could be economic challenges and wisdom challenges and health challenges. So there are many such lists around the world. Yeah. Different people, construction people would have their own list of, these problems are there. So I'm a health facilitator. I see W.H.O's list of diseases. So according to whoever's watching this, they might notice their own list of, these problems are there, which is there to be solved. And according to how much you train to it, for it, addressing that, you would have an advantage over somebody who's not been considering about, there are these, you could use your resources and what you have working towards solving something, and so you will have a industry advantage, an edge that somebody else does not have. That's also a little bit like the blue ocean technology. You have an advantage over somebody else because you see a problem that can be solved in a way nobody else even has even begun to think about. Yeah. Now, my inquiry is about the human body. Yeah. I see a human body itself hasn't been studied in a way that could be, and that solves a lot of concerns. So it's like when there are traits seen that is beneficial for the whole, for what Almighty Dotting has created life, has seen as possible from having life. So different people have different skill sets. Yeah. It's kind of like a little bit of a natural selection. Yeah. And then it's about how they all add up. And that's also what I'm calling as humanity across boundaries. So my profession is about body, healing, yeah, and then connecting the dots, yeah, the sense how is this related with the other, and seeing a little big picture to, yeah. So you could say this large language model, yeah. I'm talking about original human intelligence at a time when we are working with artificial intelligence. So that's a perspective. Somebody else may have another set of information. For example, how to make videos, yeah, in a way that looks appealing and it's more informative, and with little bit of work, maximum information can be conveyed. So that would be a value addition to what I'm doing or what is possible in Almighty Dotting, by which value can be then added, by which everybody becomes healthy, wealthy, wise, for example. So those traits, which then makes things faster, but it's also in alignment with the vision and mission of Almighty Dotting. Yeah, which I'm largely thinking is about enlivening life in the multiverse, because life is a for-profit enterprise, maybe because of what my body is capable of doing. Yeah, so I teach. So I call it as Manushya Dharma. So we are having different kinds of religions: Hindu Dharma, Christian Dharma, Muslim Dharma. We have Sikh Dharma, yeah, Buddhist dharma, Jain dharma, etc. etc. So I call it as Manushya dharma. When, like particle physics, like how protons is related with neutrons, is related with electrons, and quarks, and different particles, and how they're related to form a compound. Yeah, and then we have chemistry, and then we have biology, and then we have life, and we're looking at planets and different things. Yeah, different small little particles. So as different particles are coming together, like different bits of information, as they are coming together, then we see information differently. Yeah, like we have many theories, and when the bits of information is kind of rearranging, say new information is coming, then we see a construct of something that we're studying, of even reality itself, from a new light. The theories change, our constructs of reality change, our models of reality change, and consequently, one of the things that's possible is we see a human differently than we have been seeing hitherto. Yeah, there have also been people who've been considering that the human body, humans, are like a curse on the planet. If humans were not there, life would thrive, and those kinds of thought lines. That may be from how they have put information together. It's like the analogy of the rose and the thorn. Yeah, so which optimistic, pessimistic, and you could say that's just a sketchy way of looking at things. They could be putting the dot, they could be saying, oh, this all this happened because of how humans are behaving, and hence humans are like a curse on the planet. If they were not there, this would happen. So they may not be seeing, so they may be talking in terms of the sick traits, sickness traits, which are causing problems, civilizational concerns. And then there is the other side of the equation, where you may not be taking into consideration the benefits from being human, from having a body that's human, which is what I'm bringing forth to the fore, that our human body is capable of converting sukha and dukha, like a plant converts carbon dioxide to oxygen, for example. It's a sketchy idea, but the idea is human beings. There's this idea of mythological idea of the Sri Yantra. There's idea of Samudra Manthan, where Parvati is said to have to convert the Visha that Nilakantha, he according to the idea of the Samudra Manthan, Shiva was able to take in the poison, and Parvati helped to prevent the poisoning his body. Yeah, and so she was able to convert Visha into, so life continued to be maintained, and Samudra Manthan continued. So our human body is capable of converting sukha dukha, the Visha, into life and living substance. The idea of Ganapati or Vignesha, yeah, where it's also talking about a form of that which limits us, that which causes concerns, for also including, say, diseases. It's possible to turn that around, yeah, which is also what a human body is capable of, yeah. And I call this set of, it's not just how to do that, I call that as healthy and natural breathing as a starting. And then there are further the how to of it. I call this as the original yoga or fundamental yoga, and then we have movement-based yoga. So my idea of Samudra Manthan is a movement-less method of yoga, where you could just be going about doing your everyday activities, and it's like a combination of Kriya Yoga, Sahaja Yoga, Grihastha Yoga, what have you, Tantra Yoga, many forms, but it's where asana, pranayama, dhyana is all rolled into one. So in a practice of, say, Hatha Yoga, or any form of, say, Ashtanga Yoga, there is at least 3 parts: asana, pranayama, dhyana. And I'm talking about where it's all mixed into a single multifaceted practice that moves through stages of development. It's like mythology, yeah. You go to school, baby class, and then first standard, second standard. So a human being goes through stages of development that has been referred to as the Dashavatara or the Dashami. Yeah. So there is a light version and the dark version. So, like the day and night, we have the light self and the dark self, and both is important because otherwise there's this reference of the good wolf and the bad wolf. So you could be too good and lose the order of it, or you could be too bad and lose the order of it. Yeah. So in a family, when there is the light and dark appropriately maintained, then it's a pleasant day. Otherwise, we have seasonal changes. Yeah. Which they also call as a Yuga Chakra. For us to have an ever pleasant day, yeah, it requires maintaining the ice and the hot, yeah, the cold and the hot. So we are not going into ice age and we are not going into hot age, yeah, none of that, yeah. So we are kind of experiencing global warming. So that's one of the hot age kind. And then there's this idea of the ice age. The movie Ice Age is talking about it. Our body is capable of maintaining the balance such that we are not going through these different seasons in that sense. And we're able to maintain a pleasant day, sunny side up and balmy air, yeah, pleasant weather, and it's always a sunny side up. It's a pleasant day, like a tropical country, yeah, where there is nice fruits and all of that, and yeah, that way. So that is possible. You would say a fairy tale land. But that's why our body is designed the way it is. To be able to bring a fine balance between the light and dark, which has been referred to as the shape of a human body has been referred to like with many heads and hands, and people with mythological characters have been represented that way. But they're talking about a person itself has so many personas. Dashavatara and Dashami is talking about so many stages of development. Through the year, there is so many seasons in our development because of the nature of our make, because of the different facets that make a human being a human being. So you would say hormonal cycles, but there's more than that. There is the effects of the planets on our body. There's the effects of seasons on our body. The different kinds of challenges offered by traditional concerns or our everyday life situations. And when we are appropriately, which gives rise to the sukha and dukkha. And when our body is able to appropriately digest, metabolize the sukha and dukkha arising from these different challenges, depending on where our employment in Almighty Dotting is, accordingly we are able to sufficiently do work by our profession, by our placement in the scheme of things, as a homemaker maybe, as a student maybe, whatever may be our title or label by which we are functioning, identity. And there could be sukha and dukkha arising from any of these. And when a body is able to sufficiently metabolize, we won't have lifestyle diseases. Yeah? And then there is regular maintenance required of our body systems. So we're not having, say, heart conditions or lung conditions or liver conditions. So our body as the original computer, so to speak. Yeah, like we maintain the software and hardware of our computer, a different, say, a phone, etc. Similarly, when a body is maintained like that, like a vehicle, like a home, like an application, like a device you're using, there will be long life, yeah, and life continues to be maintained healthy. So I'm like the torchbearer, like the person with the torch, with the light, on this is the way, and this is how we move forward instead of going round and round in the same place, yeah, where the Kala Chakra moves forward. So I hope this gives you a perspective on what I mean by Almighty Dotting and what it takes. Okay, one benefit in being healthy, wealthy, wise, like from a body that's human, functioning like a tree, yeah, functioning like our ability, having the ability to convert sukha dukkha into life and living substance by what's called as a samudra manthan. Economy becomes better because the Samudra Manthan talks about 9 kinds of jewels. It's called a Navaratna, and there are other benefits. The story of Samudra Manthan talks about many benefits being there. Yeah, you can look it up on Google. As you function by the vision and mission of Almighty Inc., then you begin to be regarded amongst. It's like natural selection.